Hey, my name is Phil. I'm the head of product here at EDELRID, and in this short video, we're going to talk about climbing ropes and how to reduce their ecological footprint. In order to manufacture a climbing rope, there are several production steps involved. From the raw yarn we purchase until the finished rope we send out to the user. These steps are roughly setting up the raw material for the plying process, plying several raw yarns together to thicker yarns, knitting these yarns to larger tubes to prepare them optimally for shrinking the yarns, putting them on the bobbins for the braiding machines. Then comes the braiding process, after which there is batch testing, quality control of every meter, cutting to the required length, and packaging. And then the rope is put to use eventually. In each of these steps, leftover materials occur sooner or later for a variety of reasons. It is only natural for a manufacturer to think of ways to reduce these leftovers, of course, and/or find other purposes to use them. This is probably not even motivated by sustainable considerations at first, but simply for economic reasons. After all, we are talking about very high quality materials here, which continue to increase their value along these steps. What rope manufacturers always have done in the past and continue to do so today is to sell these materials to other industries. They call this recycling, or ropes made from recyclable material. But what happens to most plastic waste in general today is that they get thermally valorized. This simply means it gets burnt to generate energy. Only some of it might get actually recycled, often to lower value semi-finished products like industrial carpet fibers, insulating materials, plastic granulate, and so on. This is of course all better than that it goes to landfill, but note that this rarely happens for raw materials in an industrial context of any kind. The material is simply too valuable. But this was of course not very satisfactory for us, and so we wanted to explore better ways. In 2016, we introduced the Parrot 9.8mm as well as the Boa Eco 9.8mm as the first ropes of its kind known to rope manufacturers making use of leftover yarns from the production. Reusing raw materials for their actual cause is obviously always better than the earlier mentioned options. We did so by reorganizing our production processes, produce in smaller batches, and embrace that the outcoming product looks different every time, as leftovers cannot be planned by the color. This approach allowed us to find good use for all of our leftover materials before the braiding process, because after the braiding process, leftover yarns are, well, braided. And to reuse yarns here would mean to unbraid the scrap materials. Of course, not an option. With the introduction of our Neo 9.8mm rope, we then made it possible to make a rope by actually recycle our leftover materials. And note the difference here. For the Parrot, we reuse yarns. For the Neo, we recycle. This means shredding the material, melting it down, making new granulate from this, and actually spinning out new yarn with that again. So with this, we were then able to actually also find a use for all leftover materials after the braiding process. So this brings us now to a point where we can potentially use all of our leftover materials to make new rope. Pretty awesome, right? To be fair now though, what now only remains as the holy grail is to find a way for used ropes to be made into ropes again. So far, this keeps on being an unsolved technical challenge, because I am repeating myself here, we might sometimes forget that we are talking about ways to make life-supporting equipment and that there cannot be any compromises in the materials we use. And for climbed ropes, the only thing we currently can offer are ideas or ways to reuse your rope. For example, by using our manual as an instruction to create these awesome rope mats. This might have been a very long but necessary introduction to appreciate what I actually wanted to talk about eventually in this video. Our new Swift 48 2R EcoDry 8.9mm rope. Why? Well, because for this rope, we are using leftover yarns from our production as well. In particular those occurring before the braiding process. So just like the Parrot and the Boa Eco. Why another rope like this, you might ask? Well, because different ropes are made by yarns containing different quantities of plied raw yarns. The Parrot and the Boa Eco need sheath yarns that are consisting of 4 plied raw yarns. So only leftovers of such yarn can obviously be used for that. However, we have many ropes being constructed by yarns consisting of 3 plied raw yarns, and for those we did not have a reuse purpose yet, until now. We use them now to produce the new Swift 48 2R, our flagship rope with the PFAS-free Eco-Tri treatment passing the UIAA Tri requirements. That is the Swift 48 2R Eco-Tri, the most awesome rope money can buy.